I always feel with our like countdown, it's like the when you go to the movies with the IMAX, where it's like 10 mind-bending sound, 9 someone tickles your bickle while you watch,
Yeah, it's one of the most uncomfortable parts of going to an IMAX movie. Someone
is that someone underneath your chair starts tickling your bickle.
Well, yeah, because they sell pickles. They sell pickles at movie theaters, or they used to. I don't know if they still do. I feel like that's some theaters.
Yeah, I feel like the countdown is worse though in the 4D.
Nice, perfect intro. Honestly, perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Moving right along. Hello and welcome back. Getting away from that cold open as quickly as possible.
Sorry. Sometimes we write these, and I guess I did a bad job pitching. I don't know. It got through all the other pitches. So imagine what we didn't say.
Yeah, exactly. Got through the 6 or 7 rounds of revisions. All the production staff. It's a big studio over here.
No.
Yeah, Jerry, how'd this one get through the cracks?
Yeah. You know what? We're gonna have to fire Steven over that one.
They're gonna fire. People will pay for that cold open.
Yeah, we're actually gonna charge all of our employees money,
and you, the listener,
pay us. Yeah. Anyway, with that, we're the Tough Cut Podcast, and I'm Matthew.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Jakers. I like that. We've been doing that a lot lately. I like that.
Yeah, it's just fun.
It's just fun.
And this is episode 74, part 2 of our Jack Black bracket.
Nice. It's still
say that 3 times fast.
That'd be tough.
I think it actually would be pretty hard. Does anyone want to try?
Jack Black.
I feel like I'm going. Like I'm a little Muppet.
Is that Jack Black?
Coming at you in today's episode, we've got Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle versus Nacho Libre. And then the second half, we've got Be Kind Rewind versus Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Is that like how you know that movie? Do you know it as Peter Jackson's King Kong?
Yeah.
I also know it as that.
I didn't realize it was Peter Jackson until I was watching it this time. And then, watching it through, because I haven't seen it since I was a kid. And watching it now,
on a DVD rip.
Yeah, exactly. Watching it now, I was like, oh, this is really Peter Jackson-y.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else has Peter Jackson done again? For the viewers at home?
I don't
know. Something about...
But it's really Peter Jackson-y.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's the thing people know him from.
Right, the lords of those rings.
Wait, Jake, I'm sorry. Do you know Peter Jackson as the guy who made King Kong 2005? Is that what you know Peter Jackson as?
Look, I think you can be exposed to filmmakers at any point of their careers. Some people know Gore Verbinski as the Mouse Hunt guy, Some know him as the Pirates guy.
Yeah.
But no one knows him as the Lone Ranger guy. Spoiler warning, we're going to be spoiling these movies that we include in here. And we'll be spoiling
Probably some others.
Probably some others. We spoil a lot of stuff. But if you're mad at that, just bully us on social media at Tough Cut Pod. We got an Instagram and a Twitter and a Letterboxd.
Take it up with our lawyer if he still has a job.
Dude, we're going to see this mess up with that cold open.
Yeah, he's also one of our lead writers.
Yeah. Imagine it. That's like a huge conflict of interest, right? If your lawyer is your writer, is that weird?
I mean, if they're in-house, in-house counsel.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope our lawyer
made that
up.
Yeah, instead of hiring a law firm to represent us, we have an in-house counsel because we
pay our employees in houses. Actually, we just get them houses.
Anyway.
Big lore drop on the Tough Cut Podcast today.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Is there anything else we need to say, or we just getting into it?
I think Alex says what we're doing.
We are. Well, I did it last time. I feel like my job's a oneer. I just do it the first time.
Whoa!
This is Jack Black
do
bracket.
It again, but this time add 3 more adjectives. That's your challenge. Go.
This is the good, fun, sexy Jack Black bracket. These movies have Jack Black in them.
Nice, we did it,
and that's pretty good. Job.
Someone might start with the second one. There's actually no reason to start with one. You can start with 2.
That's
yeah,
true.
I guess theoretically we could spoil what happened in the first episode of the bracket. I feel
Okay.
like we probably have at some point.
We normally do at
definitely
the
have.
end of this episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
but
true.
our
You're
listeners
right. We do
listening
that
all the way
every
through.
bracket.
Yeah, do they? We have like
What's
an
the
80%
retention rate here?
audience retention.
Yeah,
They
come
drop the hell off as soon as I start rambling.
As soon as you have a couple more things before we vote.
Alex, do you want to go ahead and introduce Nacho Libre?
Yeah, sure. Nacho Libre, released in 2006, directed by Jared Hess. Jack Black plays Ignacio, also known as Nacho, and he is a monk at an orphanage in Mexico. His parents, one was a missionary and one was a priest, and they tried to convert each other, and they had him as a little baby, but then they died, and then he lived there. And there are a bunch of other little children orphans there too, and he decides that he loves wrestling and he wants to make the church some money, so he's going to go be a luchador. But wrestling is bad against the church, so he's got to hide his identity, and that's Nacho Libre. I picked this movie because from my childhood, I feel like this was the most Jack Black movie. Matt, you're looking at me like a crazy person.
No. Not talking about you. I fell down a rabbit hole. This film's directed by Jared Hess. I went to look at his filmography, and there was an entry for a Minecraft movie that only has Jason Momoa listed as an actor in it. I'm like, is this fake? What is happening?
You literally just did a Mad Lib. There was no way that sentence was real.
I can't wait to see Jason Momoa as Minecraft Steve
from Minecraft. Yeah, sorry, I did not mean to fall down a fucking rabbit hole while you were describing this movie.
Top cast, Jason Momoa. What's happening? What is going
anyway,
on?
Sorry, you think of this as the most Jack Black movie, Alex. Sorry.
Not necessarily, but I think of this when I was a child.
Oh, okay.
Was like the Jack Black movie, Like my friends and I weren't super into Tenacious D. I guess people liked School of Rock, but to me, was like no
slander.
School of Rock's a great movie, but to me, School of Rock was a great movie. Nacho Libre was the Jack Black movie, And I don't exactly know why. Like this to me is just like this is what I picture Jack Black as, and it's been interesting watching this bracket because this is like extremely heightened of what Jack Black I think normally does. So it's kind of interesting. I didn't know how well this movie would hold up when I pitched it. And I think it does an okay job. I was pretty pleasantly surprised that so much of the cast is actually Latinx besides him. Yeah. But they try to explain why he's a white man there, which I guess is admirable that they didn't just put him there for no reason. Yeah. What do you guys think about this movie? What are your relationships with Nacho Libre?
Matthew, you should go first.
Yeah, so as a child, my friends, we were Tenacious D fans. Thought that was fucking sick, dude.
That's it. Hard stop. Okay, so I think Nacho Libre.
And I guess I missed the memo, and my friends all saw Nacho Libre at some point. And
they saw it without you?
I don't know if they didn't I don't think they saw it together. They might have, which would be very sad. But maybe they did.
Is this your villain origin story? Is this that Fly the Conchord song where it's I saw my friends, they're into town? You know that one?
Yeah. I got her feelings.
Yeah, there we go. Her feelings. God, I love Fly the Conchord.
Yeah, it's great. And I just never saw it. So all of their, I don't know, they're yelling Nacho and jumping around and saying nipple twist. Yeah, just never hit me. So this was actually my first time seeing this movie.
Wait,
what?
Wait, you
seen
Nacho Libre?
Whoa,
that's crazy.
Whoa.
This is a very odd movie.
Yeah. It's weird.
There's a lot visually that's really interesting.
I mean, the premise is wild as hell.
Yeah. There's competing pieces where on some level, it's a competently made and sometimes interestingly made film. But on another level, I feel a lot of it, I'm there's not a lot going on right now. I don't know.
It's so interesting. It's made by Nickelodeon, but at the same time, it very, very badly wants to be made by Wes Anderson.
Yeah, there's like a
It's pretty
lot.
funny.
Yeah, there's like a lot of visual flair going on in like
There
a
is.
very interesting way for a movie where Jack Black is pretending to be a lucha libre,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or a luchador. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. With that said, I generally had a fun time with it. I think some of the jokes hold up. I think there are some that are just like really, really bad.
Yeah.
But his fits do be kind of killer, though. You know.
You do be thin. Costume design was cool.
Anyway, yeah, what about you, Jake? Now that I've rambled for 3 minutes about what I thought about this movie,
it's totally. That's why we're here, Matthew. The people want to know. I wonder who like is like a full through and through Matthew stan. I really wanted this podcast to get like super successful because I feel like the type of people who just listen for Matthew, like I want to meet those guys because I love them. I'm a Matthew stan.
Yeah,
but-
that's me. That's why I listen to the
Yeah.
podcast.
I just love the rambles. Full disclosure, I don't like this movie.
Mhm.
It just when it did happen when we were kids and stuff, people watched it, and I literally think like the people who bullied me as a kid really like this movie.
Yikes.
And so hearing those like Nacho or like all of a sudden I'm like I hate it. Like
that
and
was
it just,
my friend group.
yeah, that was literally your friend group. Your friend group probably would have bullied me.
It's because we hadn't hit the point yet where our paths
Yeah.
would have crossed, Jake. You know.
Yeah. But yeah, I just don't I don't see the appeal. This movie is like just not for me, which is like wild. Because I like Jack Black. I do think it's a little like sucky that Jack Black is just a white dude. Although hilarious. I did want to say this. I looked up because I always like forget because I watch this movie. I'm like, how did they get away with like casting Jack Black as like the lead in this? So I always look up, is Jack Black like any kind of Hispanic or whatever? And what the second drop down that I see is it's on Quora and it's like, is Jack Black Mexican? And the answer is no. Even if he was, Mexican isn't a race, it's a nationality, and he's clearly an American Caucasian right-wing extremist. And
Whoa! Wait,
I
what?
have no idea where that came from. What is going on here? So that was wild. I just felt like I needed to share that one. Because what? But I give this movie points for its creative premise. It is like a wild, like throwing darts at a board kind of premise. At least to me, I haven't seen a movie like this. But it's really just not my movie. I really don't like. I think Jack Black has better humor in other things. I just don't think this is not Jack Black for me. This is like I don't like being reminded of this movie. I can't speak on if it's a good or bad movie. I just don't like it, and that's just where I stand.
Well, with that, I'll jump into introducing Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. However, something to chew on. Last little thought before we start comparing them.
Oh no, get the cookies away from him.
Fun fact, but Nacho Libre is actually based on a real luchador.
Yeah.
By the name of Fray Tormenta. So there was, in fact, a wrestling friar out there in Mexico making ends meet for his orphans, which I think is very fun. Anyway, so Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. A bunch of high schoolers get sent to detention for different reasons. They pull out this stinky old Atari looking game console to play some video games.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out it's a cursed game console, cursed with the powers of Jumanji. So they get sucked into Jumanji. And they have to beat the game, save Jumanji in order to escape. And
Jumanji.
Jumanji. It's just a little romp with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, all pretending to be played by high schoolers. Go
Karen Gillan for getting a role that is not just her completely covered in makeup and to be able to have some fun. I like Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
So with that said, as to why I picked this movie, I think as far as like recent Jack Black stuff goes, Jumanji is just like always stood out to me as something that was really, really fun. I enjoyed seeing it for the first time a year ago. I enjoyed rewatching it. Oh, and this was released in 2017 and directed by Jake Cassadan.
Nice.
Apologies for not calling that out earlier.
It's okay. We forgive you.
Thank you. And
Some will.
there's just like I feel like there's a deceptively large amount of charm. In particular, I think we get like a very different sort of Jack Black because it is him pretending to be a teenage girl. So instead of like kind of thing, it's like, I don't know, being surprised he has a penis.
Which is in turn.
Yeah, it's just different version of that. Yeah, I just really like this movie for some reason,
It's got I'll jump in here if you don't mind. It's got a special sauce. I like, immediately clenched when this movie got announced because it's like Jumanji, and like, how you gonna follow up the Robin Williams Jumanji? Like that's a classic to me. I love that movie.
Follow it up 25 years later or something.
Yeah.
What about Zathura?
I also like Zathura.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I saw it when I was a kid.
That?
Yeah, I think
Dax Shepard. Wow.
I don't know. I saw it when I was a kid and I remember liking it, but obviously Jumanji is better, the OG. But then honestly, like, look, you get The Rock, you get Kevin Hart, and they have such great chemistry, and then you throw in like genuinely a really surprising Jack Black great performance. Like I just was like, oh my god, he's like randomly back again. I was like I remember being excited that he got like casted. I was like, oh, that's like fun. He's gonna be in a blockbuster movie. He hasn't done that in a while. It's no like Peter Jackson's King Kongs, but no, but I just like, this is a surprisingly good movie. Like that's where like I stand with it. I mean, like Jack Black is super fun in it, and you could tell like he's just having like a good time. It's not a stereotypical Jack Black, but it's like, it's fun. Like it's still like, it's good. I like it. I like it. Like it's one of those simple, like I had a fun time watching it. I don't got to think too hard about it. Yeah, I like it.
Nice. I really like this movie.
Yeah, it's an Alex movie for sure.
Similar to Jake, I was not very excited when I heard about it because I was like, meh. But I think it like does a surprisingly good job at all the things that you think it would be really awful about. Like the characters seem fairly deep. The Jack Black character is like surprisingly heartwarming when you think she's going to be awful the whole time.
Yeah.
It does a lot of good stuff. And the joke of Jack Black being a teenage girl, I don't think gets old the entire movie. Like
it totally could.
It totally could if it was done poorly, and it's done so well. That being said, it's a big ensemble movie. Jack Black, I do think, is my favorite character in the movie, but he is not the center of it. I don't know. It's tough.
And he doesn't really, like, he does add a lot to it, and it's one of, like, the surprising good things, again, about the movie, but I don't necessarily think he, like, defines it. I definitely think The Rock and Kevin Hart are, like, the big...
Sure, it's their duo that put the butts in seats,
Right.
Yeah. And Reese Darby, of course. Shout out Fly the Conchords again. Boom, we did it.
So good. So good.
He's great. He's so great. I love him.
I do think Jack Black, though, is a funny character in this movie because not only is he one of the most heartwarming characters in the movie, he also has, like, the most explicit arc because the entire time he's like, where's my phone? And then later on he's like, does not having my phone make me a good person? Which is so funny that they just, like, outright say that for the character.
Pretty great.
It's good.
All right. So jumping into actually comparing these, obviously, the elephant in the room sounds like it's going to be on one side. We've got Jumanji, which you guys sort of think of as not like a Jack Black movie. He is like a part of a larger cast.
Great part. Super surprising.
Versus Nacho Libre, which is, he's pretty front and center up there. But for some of us, not my favorite, and for others, a middling experience.
Yeah, I mean, Nacho Libre definitely is not one of my favorite Jack Black experiences. I just felt like, it needed to be talked about.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree.
Even if...
No, for sure. Yeah. No, there's no harm. Like, I think having Nacho Libre in the bracket makes complete sense. I feel like if a lot of people were like, "What is the best Jack Black movie?" They like people would rank this pretty high.
I feel like people would say Nacho Libre on like a gut instinct kind of thing. Not like anyone necessarily like wants to go watch Nacho Libre all the time. I feel like it's a like, oh, if I don't like think too hard about Jack Black movies, I feel like a lot of people will gut instinct say Nacho Libre.
Yeah, I don't think it's the sort of thing that people are rewatching every few years. Most people, if I had to guess, have not seen it since they were a kid. Yeah. So I think that's like, is a very Jack Black centric, but kind of middling experience worth more on the Jack Black scale than what is a really fun, but not center stage Jack Black performance,
So my argument here, kind of, and my like thought process is, I've never been a stickler when we do these brackets about like how much screen time is it. If it's like really impactful or whatever, and he's in it throughout. It's not like a Nicolas Cage Spider-Verse thing where like he actually has a few lines. Like Jack Black is like he's there like the whole movie, more or less. I think it's such a like a strong, like powerful, like when we're looking for a Jack Black movie that we can like, there's still stuff we can extrapolate, like I don't think that's necessarily points down in this one for it. Just like in Tropic Thunder, honestly, like Jack Black is there the whole time and like does they work in similar ways for me. Like it doesn't take away. I still think because it's Jack Black that we're talking about, like he makes it. He gives us the fuel. He gives us the ammo. Like the stuff's there. It's still a Jack Black performance that I would think of,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of broach the topic there. It adds a lot, I think, to Jumanji and its overall enjoyable or how enjoyable it is. With that said, as far as other points of comparison go here, I mean, I guess both movies have a lot of characters. I think they handle their larger casts a bit differently. Obviously, Nacho Libre is a little bit more focused on exclusively one Nacho, whereas Jumanji, I think it's spread between their cast a little bit, but the focal point is obviously The Rock's character slash Alex.
Oh, you think The Rock's going to be in a movie and he's going to make himself be the side character? Come on now.
Do you think it was a contractual thing that he had no weaknesses?
No, it is because it's making fun of a real. Do y'all know his like thing with like Vin Diesel and the beef or whatever?
Yeah, they have to have like equal. They can't
equal
lose
fights. He
more
can't
fights.
like lose a fight, like especially if it's like a fist fight. The Rock cannot lose. That's like in his contract in any movie he makes.
That's so funny.
So wild. Oh yeah, we talked about that when we talked about Fast 5.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I feel like that snuck its way into a contract somewhere.
110%. No, this is also super interesting. Kind of like getting another thing I was thinking of. Like, Nacho Libre was what 2005? You said?
Yeah, sure.
2006.
So like 6. So like start like Jumanji's our like most recent Jack Black thing that we have on here, right? Yeah, I think that it's so interesting seeing the difference in like Jack Black stuff. I don't think he would do Nacho Libre again.
I don't think so either.
And that's kind of like interesting to me to see like, okay, then what role would Jack Black do again or like do? And it was this out of like everything where it's not even like full Jack Black, but it's like he was just doing something new and something fun. So I think that's like really fun. And credit to Jumanji for giving us a different kind of Jack Black performance, but still feeling like, man, like every time he's there, I'm just like, I am so glad you're in this movie. You know what I mean? Whereas in Nacho Libre, I'm like, I don't know if you should have done this movie. Yeah.
He adds so much to Jumanji. Like, the relationship between his character and all the other characters would feel so different if it was a different actor. You know? Him and Karen Gillan teaching her how to flirt is such a good scene. But, like, if someone else had been doing it, I don't know that it would have been as good. Like, he really brings so much to the movie.
Specifically talking about that teaching to flirt scene, there is, like, a huge piece of that is Jack Black's just charisma. And it's something I don't think we've really talked about yet in the bracket, but exudes so many of the roles he's in is, like, he just seems like a genuinely really, really charismatic and like fun to be around person.
Mhm.
And I think that like that scene, despite playing a character, really shows a lot of it off. And I think it gets to the point you're talking about, Alex, of like, if it was a different actor, it would feel totally different, obviously, but like it just like wouldn't carry the same energy. And he also instructs flirting pretty naturally. I imagine, I would love
It's
to
the
be wooed by
confidence,
Jack
dude.
Black.
Jack Black, it's the confidence.
Yeah.
It's
And
just so
I'll
nice.
say, not to objectify Jack Black, but I will say we get a lot of Jack Black's tummy in Nacho Libre, and it's pretty good.
He
Hey, there's a sex appeal about Jack Black, 110%.
Yeah,
112%.
100%.
I don't know what it is in Nacho Libre, but there's something about how he carries himself and whatever that I'm like, maybe he would be kind of strong actually.
Ooh, and you do like your strong man.
I do. I like my strong boys.
Audience, can I just say, like, before the podcast started, literally,
My God.
Matthew bullied me again for not like working out. Like, my brother works out fairly well, and he posts a lot, on his social medias, and he's looking beefy. He's doing the work.
Yeah,
and then Matthew literally like turns to me, and he's like, "Why don't you do that?"
Jake, your gangly limbs.
You don't
Yeah,
have
he literally said you don't have to have the lanky gene. And I'm like, what does that mean, Matthew? What does that mean? Anyway, so yeah, I guess, points for Jack Black looking strong in Nacho Libre, whatever.
Yeah, he's got some good fits and he looks kind of strong. So, it's like, it speaks to me. With that said, his little cart thing.
Yeah.
It's like a moped with like a wheelchair on the front.
It's like a souped up thing.
That thing looks so sick. That thing is so rad. Like if they've been in Jumanji, rolled up into the vehicle shed and saw the little wheelchair moped, I've been like, what? It just like, I don't know. That's like that's a high point for me. Though, weirdly, something I just want to talk about a tiny bit. Nacho Libre is weirdly horny for, like,
That's
kid's
Jack Black.
movie.
That's Jack Black, man. He just adds that. Again, the sex appeal. I don't know what it is, but, like, yeah.
The man is down so bad for some female companionship. It's crazy.
I guess it was like I think it's a statement literally on, like, the church and, like, celibacy and all that stuff. Like, I really think it's pent up, like, sexual desire and all that. Because of all the,
And at the end, are him and Sister Encarnacion, I believe. There's like a knowing little glance at the end in the bus.
Oh, they be beeping and bopping. No
I
doubt.
think so.
They be beeping and bopping.
For sure.
We'll call that a W for.
I kind of got like this is one of my last things, and I think we should vote.
Yeah.
I think we should vote. I got jump scared by this movie because the actress who plays the nun, Ana de la Regra, like she was in Army of the Dead, and so that jump scared me because I just thought of Zack Snyder, and I didn't think I'd be thinking of Zack Snyder while watching Jack Black movies. So that's my vote. I'm gonna vote for Jumanji for that reason, and because I'm not a fan of Nacho Libre. I apologize to any Libre fans out there, but not really.
I don't think you need to. I feel like if anyone is like a big fan of this movie now, I'd be pretty surprised about that. Like if you've watched this movie recently and you're still a big fan of it, it's got its moments, but it also has like its moments, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of the moments.
Just like if you compare this movie to Jumanji, to me, it's no question I am also voting for Jumanji.
Well, that makes it a 3-fer because I'm also going to vote for Jumanji. We say goodbye to Nacho Libre. Science wins out over Catholicism.
I mean, I think what has to be said though is Nacho Libre has a bunch of, in my mind, classic Jack Black lines like stretchy pants and eagle powers, and I mean like all these things are just like things that I have associated with Jack Black for the last I don't know, 18 years of my life since I saw this movie.
Oh no,
but
the toughies, the cuties are gonna do the math.
Determine exactly his
tweeted us
age.
the amount of years since Nacho Libre came out. Minimal. By the way, that's at Tough Cut Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd.
I hope we gained it. We did gain a follower on the Jack Black stuff, or a couple followers. We did.
Hey,
Wow.
look at us
We did.
go.
Well, with that, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle advances.
More like welcome to the semifinals, am I right? Ayo!
Hey,
Yeah.
oh.
Welcome to the semifinals.
Guys, there's a world where Jumanji goes up against Tropic Thunder.
That is true.
That's
There's
What a
a world.
wild comparison that would
Technically
be.
possible.
That is, yeah. They're dudes playing dudes.
Hey,
but
Jack
that-
Black was a dude in this one playing a dude.
Yeah, right? Like, that's pretty crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. Jake, do you want to go ahead and introduce Be Kind Rewind?
Yeah, I'm so excited. Be Kind Rewind is the last one, that I pitched, and it's 2008, directed by Michel Gondry. This is, while attempting to sabotage the local power plant, freeloader Jerry accidentally becomes magnetized and wipes all the videos for the Be Kind Rewind rental store, which is like a Blockbuster. The store owner, Mr. Fletcher, is already facing closure, and now the few customers he has have nothing to watch. One of them asked for a remake of Ghostbusters, and the acting manager, Mike and Jerry, do a bootleg 20-minute remake using an old camcorder. And this movie is like a classic to me. Like it tickled my brain. Like it's been tickling my brain for a while. Like I always think of it. I always think of the phrase like Be Kind Rewind. Always like something like is very beautiful and nostalgic about like the Blockbuster video of it all and everything. That was very important to me as a kid. And it just like stuck with me. I don't know, something about this movie like really, really sticks with me. Most Def, Jack Black. I think it's fun. Sigourney Weaver, pops in there, which is really great. I just like something about it. Something about it really sticks with me. I can't exactly put my thumb on it, and I had another good time rewatching it because it's silly. Alex, tell me how you feel.
Truthfully, it wasn't really my favorite. It was good. I thought it was a good movie. It's just not really what I expected Jack Black to be doing.
For sure.
So I was kind of expecting something different. I didn't really know what it was going into it. It's a good movie. I don't think was for me, unfortunately. But I thought it was good. I don't know. I'm like really not nostalgic about like Blockbuster or like home videos or anything like that. Like, I don't know. I've always kind of been annoyed by like home videos, and like America's Funniest Home Videos just kind of like pisses me off.
Wow.
So
gee,
like,
okay. Oh, I didn't even felt that
I don't
strongly.
know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and so like them like remaking a bunch of movies was like interesting, but for me got very old very quickly.
Fair.
Yeah, but it's a sweet movie. It I think is it does good stuff. It has great theming, talking about like community and stuff like that. But yeah, just not really for me.
Fair. So this is a movie that I have a very, very soft spot for. I saw it as a kid, and it's just like similar to Jake, stuck with me for a really, really long time. I think that there is a lot that is very charming about this movie. And also, despite the like absolutely mental premise of Jack Black tries to sabotage the power plant and gets magnetized, being the setup for the story is like the dumbest shit on the planet.
Love it.
But like despite all that, I'm still like very here for a lot of what this movie does. I think that there are like greater themes of creativity and self-expression and a lot of that runs very deep in the veins of this movie that I think is really, really sweet.
Yeah.
So overall, I enjoyed watching it for the most part, or rewatching it for the most part. It doesn't all hold up as well as I remember it.
Same. Yeah. That was
which is fair.
interesting.
Some of that being that it's like there's like some plot lines that feel like very disjointed, and I'm like, I don't know why we dedicated screen time to this. When like the core idea of just like video store remakes movies and say it like helps their community is just like really fun on its own. And it feels like there's a lot of like unresolved conflicts at the end of the movie. That they just hang in the air. With that said, a movie that never drops a single plot line. A movie perfect in all features.
Oh, wow.
On the other side of this bracket, we've got Big Monkey himself.
Jack Black.
Peter Jackson's King Kong, released in 2005. It's the weirdest thing. I don't remember really pitching this movie, but I guess I did.
I think you were really into it. Like you really.
I remember we were like on our pitch document and we had picked movies, and Matt, you had a blank space. And then the next time I checked, it said in all caps, King Kong, Big Monkey. And then I checked again and I saw that get deleted. And then I saw it come back saying King Kong, Big Monkey in your space. So it must have been you.
It sounds like it was you. I just don't know. Like, listeners of this podcast know you love Big Monkey. I don't like. It literally feels
true.
the most you pick. I don't like.
That's true. That's true. You know. So I guess with that, Peter Jackson's King Kong, it was truly beauty that killed the beast, not gunfire.
So forced. Such a forced line at the end. It's awful.
Basically, Jack Black is a filmmaker, and he's gonna go to Hollywood jail because he's not making his producer's money, and so he's like, I'm gonna run away on a ship, and casts a vaudeville-esque lady performer, and Adrian Brody is there, and he's a famous playwright, and he's writing the movie. And there's some people on the boat, the crew, and they have a whole mixed metaphor about Heart of Darkness. But most
Andy
of them
Serkis
die.
is King Kong, Big Monkey.
Yeah, most of them die though, and then they're never seen again once they return to New York. Anyway,
is Andy Serkis also that one crew member? Because it looks a lot like him.
That's Andy Serkis.
Cool.
But with that really said, Jack Black is a film producer. They hop on a boat. They go to Skull Island.
Nice. Before the franchise.
Very rude to some natives.
Yeah, super rude.
Do they just
awful.
kill all of them? Is that what happens?
I'm pretty sure.
Because it's like it just suddenly King Kong grabs her, and then there are no more natives.
Yep.
It's like, what happened here?
There's a very strange scene cut from the movie where they committed genocide. It was very bad.
Yeah, very
it
bad.
Seems like it. It seems like that was a scene that was cut.
And then basically King Kong takes our lovely Andero away, and they go to try and save her from King Kong and Skull Island, an island that is 75% occupied by dinosaurs, 20% occupied by giant insects, and 1% occupied by Big Monkey.
By Jack Black.
And now 0% occupied by natives.
Yep. Unfortunately.
And just like all those natives that needlessly died, all of the crew needlessly dies trying to save Andero for some reason. And then they kidnap King Kong and take him to New York. And he breaks free. And then they kill him.
So why'd you pitch this movie, Matt?
Sometimes you just need to watch a 3-hour-long movie. Just for fun. I hope we never have a bracket with long fucking movies, because that would be a slog, dude. So Jack Black is in this. For some reason, he's in it, and everyone else is speaking in like a 1930s accent, and Jack Black is just talking like Jack Black. He other than doing his like mouth scatting and random sounds, he's just doing a Jack Black voice. With that said, like, it's not a bad movie. It's just 3 hours.
Look, it won
long.
Oscars.
Yeah,
Did it actually?
Straight up, it won for best visual effects and best sound mixing and best sound editing,
which is fair.
That's wild.
Like, there's a lot to like here. It just doesn't use its 3 hours very effectively.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
What do you mean by that?
Big
What
monkey
happened?
fall is sad. Big monkey cry.
Big
Jack
Monkey
Black
doesn't.
cry.
Big Monkey. They don't get to the island until an hour into the movie. What do you mean?
Oh, and then they spend the last 40 minutes in New York?
I
Yeah.
think the most bizarre thing about the classic King Kong story is that they this one, I'm making fun of this one specifically, but like they see King Kong and they're like, you know where he belongs? In an opera, like in theater. That's wild.
I think that's to me that I think is a time thing, like because back then there was a whole thing of like the spectacle and like circuses were new, and it was like they want to find the weirdest, craziest thing because they're gonna make a bunch
but in
of money
New
trying to
York,
get people to see it.
A big city, big monkey. That's
Lots
dumb,
of people,
right?
lots of people to see Big Monkey.
I
Lots of
guess.
people pay to see Big Monkey in big
was
city.
he like
Greed
kept
is weird.
chloroformed up until they got him into the theater? They just like put a big tarp over him so no one saw him.
Yeah, like how they get Big
Yeah,
Monkey?
how did they
there?
get him? Did they build the theater around Big Monkey? This was several months later, wasn't it?
Dude.
Guys,
might
okay.
have.
Time in this movie is handled so poorly. King Kong's size is handled so poorly. In the last scene alone, when King Kong is on top of the Empire State Building with Anne, he changes like every shot. When they're from her perspective, he's really big. When he's like wide shots, him on top of the building, he's really small. Like he just constantly changes size. Also, time, he escapes from the theater during the show. So what? 8 p.m., 9 p.m. When he gets shot down from the top of the Empire State Building, the sun is rising. So it's like 7 a.m. So him like spinning around on that frozen lake with Anne was like 12 hours. It's crazy.
They did some stuff they can't show you, all right?
Yeah, their relationship?
Yeah. Got a little crazy.
The cornerstone in a lot of ways of this movie's like plot, Beauty Kills the Beast, whatever, is a love triangle or love polygon between Adrian Brody and a giant ape is fucking absurd.
More absurd than Be Kind Rewinds, magnetism shit. I'll say it right now. I'll say it.
Which Be Kind Rewind has its own like 5-second love triangle almost that then is like dropped after a single scene.
Yeah.
It seems
Well, then they
very
realized
weirdly
that they could
thrown in.
just put Jack Black in another love triangle thing in King Kong. So, it's, they covered its bases.
Truly was beauty that killed the beast.
We haven't even said how we feel about this movie because we're just
Sorry.
shitting on it. No, you're totally fine. Look, this has an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. This won Oscars.
What?
It's not like a bad movie.
It's well loved. People love this
Like,
movie.
It's just
It's just weird. It's just weird. It's a weird movie, and I think King Kong is better when he just gets to be monkey.
I remembered two things from this movie. I remembered him being shot down from the Empire State Building, and I remembered King Kong fights a T-Rex.
Yeah.
I did not remember that he fights 3 T-Rexes at once.
And
that's
pretty
sick
cool.
as hell.
It's pretty
so
cool.
cool.
That scene goes hard. And King Kong's got like a handicap the whole time because he's like protecting Anne, and he still fucking bodies 3 T-Rexes. That's so
it's
sick.
pretty cool. I will say I have to hate this movie because bug scene because of spiders. But yeah, are you gonna say the same thing that I'm gonna say?
Go ahead, you take it.
No, you take it. You're Big Monkey. Go for it.
We might not be going 100% the same thing, but a super, super fun fact about specifically the
That
spider
scene?
pit.
Yep.
It was in the 1933 King Kong had its spider pit cut from the movie
Yeah.
because it was
Because
deemed too
fuck that.
gruesome. So
Oh,
Peter
yeah.
Jackson, in making his own a year before, or maybe the same year it came out, I'm not 100% sure, made his own spider pit sequence for the 1933 King Kong to be like,
Yeah.
here's what it would have looked like. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to make a whole King Kong movie too.
Yeah, really, really cool, but also, like, I hate spiders, so, like, no. But I will say another thing about it that's really, really, really cool, and why I have to give that scene a little credit, is if you look at the behind the scenes of them shooting that, they literally they just told, like, Jack Black and all of them, just, like, swing shit around. Well, like, just literally swing shit around. We don't even know what's happening. Like, just swing it around. We'll fill it all in. And the behind the scenes is so funny. Like, it's so, so good. Like, they literally, like, Jack Black was like, rah, 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 and he's just like, they had to edit around that. And it's like really, really cool watching that behind the scenes because it's like literal movie magic, but also that scene felt the most Jack Black behind the scenes. Like if you saw it, because it's literally him just going hog wild, and it's so funny.
So that scene, hearing this behind the scenes stuff is very fun and very cool. Watching the movie, it felt so out of place and unnecessary.
Well,
beyond the spiders and bugs being like really creepy, which I know affected Jake in a very strong way. But like, there's no reason for them to like fall down the hole, fight a bunch of bugs, and then it just be done and they're out of the hole.
I think we realized why it got scrapped in the original.
Like the only thing it added was that way those people could come back and rescue them. And it's like, well, why'd they leave? Like, why didn't they leave when the guy, it's
literally.
I hate spiders, man.
So the middle portion of King Kong is just like the hour and 20 minutes that they're on the island. And it's like repeated terrible fucking decisions. Like 18 people died because for some reason you're like, we have to rescue Anne. Like, I get it. It's like a human life and all that. And I don't know, Pretty Woman in 1930s. But like, dude, are 18 people's lives worth this?
Well, okay. And I think that, honestly, is the one thing that I like about Jack Black's character is that he is like deeply what's the word?
Sexy.
Flawed.
Yeah,
sexy
yeah, he is.
And flawed.
He is very flawed.
Wants to go on the island so he can film the island and film a movie of them rescuing her. And the rest of the people are dumb and should have just left.
Yeah, that is something I do really enjoy, is like, we get the most morally bankrupt Jack Black.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like, he is not like a great person in most of these movies. I'm now realizing.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
But he is like morally bankrupt in King Kong.
It's very interesting. One thing I did want to break up, like an actual comparison, because
we've spent 20 minutes.
Be Kind rewinds on the other side. No, but it's interesting because like Jack Black makes a lot of movies like kind of about filmmaking and about like the movie like process. I mean, Tropic Thunder is another example of this, where like they're literally all Be Kind rewind, like they're making movies and they're doing that, and it's very clear how much Jack Black loves the process and loves the creative process of it, and how like wild that is. And I think it's so interesting comparing these two, because one is like this grand spectacle like King Kong or whatever, and one's just like making a movie about Ghostbusters and like the little like silly stuff, and like kind of the personal community feeling of making a movie is how it could and probably should be, versus King Kong, big spectacle, people dying because he needs to get out of his Hollywood hell. And yeah, so it's just interesting to me that Jack Black like gravitates towards those roles, but especially comparing these two, I think Be Kind Rewind is more effective in the whole like film process, and like I like the message more. Like it's like more uplifting and more like fun rather than,
because it's fucking horrific to think that your producer, director, whatever, is willing to sacrifice your life for the end product. Like, Jake, if the show you were working on, if your producer was like, you're gonna have to stand in this lava
Jake,
as you die.
Go poke that big monkey with a stick and see what happens.
If there's Big Monkey, I don't know. I might do it if it's Big Monkey.
Don't worry. We'll point a camera at you, and if you die, we'll donate the proceeds to your family.
To your wife and child.
I mean, it is a more like, some productions are like that. Like that is, I mean, not to obviously those stakes, but a lot of like producers, especially, like that is real. But I also think like I like,
thing.
Yeah, I know that it's real, and I'm not bashing it for like, oh, it's like I don't think that's a good message. I think I just like the message that it also can be real, that films can be a community, and that it doesn't have to be this high art for it to still be really awesome art and amazing stuff, and all that. I like both are true, but I like Be Kind Rewind more because it feels more, I don't know, fucking positive. It's okay for film to be a positive experience.
Do you guys think it hurt when Jack Black did the magnet pee?
He's a method actor, so
can't believe they actually had to magnetize him for that. Also,
no, the beginning pitch, the reason why you're so bewildered by it is because that wasn't the opening. They just were filming Jack Black one day, and he was walking by,
and he got electrocuted.
He's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna destroy that fucking transformer.
It was going to be a documentary about Jack Black, and they were filming him, and he snuck into a power plant and got magnetized.
It's just such a good. It's just like such a good moment. Just
It is.
hit-
It is.
I
so
love their
funny.
costumes of like sneaking into the power plant is them painted backs for that exact
Mhm.
moment. That's very good. That's a great joke.
It's genius. It's genius. Something I think is a big issue for both of these movies, as I talked
Mhm.
about when we were introducing them, is they drop plot lines
So
100%.
much.
aggressively.
And it's more impressive that King Kong has 3 hours and it still drops plot lines.
Yeah, it's kind of an issue. Like it's interesting to me because they feel like disjointed. They feel like they're dropping plot lines or getting disconnected for different reasons. It's to me, it feels like Be Kind, Rewind. It's like once they moved on from something. I don't know. Like I can't express in words really well why I feel like that's the case, but I feel like there's different underlying reasons that these movies dropped plot lines or moved past them. Like the odd romantic triangle that exists for like a single scene in Be Kind, Rewind feels like it was dropped or forgotten about for different reasons compared to
The kid and the sailor.
yeah, the cabin boy, whatever his name was, like Jimmy or something. It feels like different reasons that those plots are dropped. And
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, obviously, it's easy to point fingers at King Kong and say, you had 3 hours. How did you
Sure.
fucking drop shit along the way? But I do think we have to the credit of, or discredit of both movies, acknowledge that they're both just like what was happening in like the scripting or the editing, etc.
Part of it, like with
process,
me,
you know?
it feels like in Be Kind Rewind, they just like kind of ran out of time. Like it literally feels kind of like more indie. Like I think they just didn't have the budget for like some things, and that just happens. Like a lot of stuff gets axed. I bet the original script did address like probably all those things in a way. I mean, this director's also like this is the person who did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and stuff like that. Also, fun fact: I don't know why this keeps coming up, but I guess whatever. He directed episode of Fly of the Conchords as well.
Oh,
Um,
Weird.
yeah, just,
Flight of the
life
Conchords riff
happens
today.
that way.
That is fair because King
yeah,
Kong's budget was like $200 million. And
Huge.
Be Kind
Like
Rewind's is
there were.
20
It's a
mil.
studio. Like it's Peter Jackson. Like there. I forgive Be Kind Rewind more for that stuff because it just happens more than I forgive like King Kong, who definitely had the time and the money to do that.
This is like going way back, but I thought of it and I thought it was a pretty funny joke, but then there wasn't a good time to say it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it now.
Yeah.
Matt, you were like, something I want to talk about with both of these movies, and I was going to say Big Monkey.
That's it. That's what you're going to say?
Yep,
Thank
that
you
was
for
my good
bringing
joke.
that back up. That's a really good point.
Actually, they do. Don't they like reference King Kong in Be Kind Rewind?
I think so.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah. We have they pretend to do Jack Black is King Kong and he tries to
Oh
grab.
yeah.
Yeah. I ran through the building. I was like, oh wow, we've got a King Kong versus King Kong and Movie Maker versus Movie Maker,
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Jake, start us off.
I mean, I think the Be Kind Rewind has its issues, but I do think it's a more enjoyable film for me, and I like Jack Black's like performance in it. It feels really something is very endearing about that character, and it stuck with me. So I'm voting Be Kind Rewind.
I think I have to vote King Kong in this one. Yeah, I think to me in these movies, Jack Black's character is more interesting to me in King Kong, and I don't know, Big Monkey.
Makes a very compelling argument.
No, he got him.
Big
No way.
I got him with the Big Monkey, didn't I?
It's just a multi-layered callback to your joke from earlier,
Right.
to the film itself.
Right.
Like
Thanks, guys.
it's like 3 points on a line.
What's that monkey eating? Big bananas?
Oh no, God.
I don't know, dude. A people apparently.
Yeah.
Sacrifices,
That's real.
which we didn't unpack that at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Well, there were no natives alive to answer any of those questions.
Jesus. Awful.
I guess with that, yeah, I think I can vote here.
You can.
Thank you for the permission, Jake. That's what we've been waiting for.
I know.
Jesus
It's been
Christ.
so long. I forgot that was my job. I forgot.
Yeah, don't worry. Alex will cut it out of the episode.
Someone
so
is
people
getting
don't
fired
know.
again. Someone. My assistant.
Steven didn't put it in the script.
Jesus. God, my assistant sucks.
Steven, he's our lawyer, our writer, and also Jake's assistant.
He's losing his job. And you know what?
If anyone wants to be my assistant, submit a resume. What's our email?
Yeah,
What's our
please.
email?
toughcutpod@gmail.com.
Optimus
Please send
Prime Rib.
resumes
I'm
to
looking
us.
at you if you want to fucking make a living.
Send your resumes to us, and we'll critique them.
He will. Don't do it.
We're gonna
He'll
do
make
a
you feel
resume
bad. Don't do it.
tier list episode.
Wow, wait, that would be
If
hysterical.
we had an audience, that'd be really fun. That participates. I mean,
Yeah, they don't.
We have an
you
audience.
guys are just silent listeners.
They watch in the shadows.
It's so lonely out here.
like the natives on the King
Oh
of
my
Kong
God,
Island hiding.
Jesus Christ.
You know what? I'm gonna vote. I think to finally put it to bed. And as much as I'd love to keep talking about King Kong, I don't know who pitched it. How to get in the episode? So I'm gonna vote for Be Kind Rewind here. I think there's a little bit more that I want to talk about with it, and a little bit more that I want to try and explore. With that said, next episode, spoilers if you didn't watch part 1 or listen to part 1, go do that. We've got Tropic Thunder versus School of Rock, and Jumanji versus Be Kind Rewind. So look forward to that.
I do.
Nice.
I do look forward to it.
With that said, if you enjoyed today's episode, you can review us on all of your favorite podcasting platforms.
Mhm, mhm.
Rate and review the show.
Oh, Spotify now has that's a thing. You could rate us on that as well. So
Whoa.
Yeah,
so if
so
you're a big
do
time
that.
listener and you love to review the Tough Cut, do it on Spotify now.
yeah,
Do it on every platform? Maybe. That would be
nah,
kinda-
just Spotify, so they can take
Put
all
up
the money.
posters on the street.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Missing cat payment is podcast.
Start calling people you know and tell them to listen. Follow us on social media at Tough Cut Pod. We're on all of your favorites. And who should they share today's episode with?
Go to the zoo and find people around the monkey exhibit and give our podcast to them.
Yeah, and share it
pitched
with
Big
Peter
Monkey?
Jackson if you know him. I want to know what he thinks.
I feel like he'll
Yeah,
be at the zoo.
I need answers. Who pitched Big Monkey?
Who did it? I bet it was him.
He might have pitched it. You think he has access to our drive?
110%. I share that shit everywhere.
Guys, we've been infiltrated by Peter Jackson.
Amazing.
Don't worry, we'll watch the Lord of the Rings movies, Mr. Jackson.
Yeah,
But they're
maybe
so
soon.
long.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have time for that shit.
Guys, if we did a long bracket, that'd be perfect.
And if we
I would
did,
put King Kong in it.
You would put King Kong in it? I'd put do a long bracket. All right. Bye.
You've got to end it, Jake. It's your job.